Long time no see.
You don't have to make it so long.
A lot of asphalt to put up for recruits.
I asked you about the newest guy, Josh Simmons. Any kind of impression? I know you kind of heard him for a time. He was in high school.
Yep.
How do you think he might develop?
He's got a really good skill set. Younger guy. I mean, you lose Luke, you lose Paris. They're the 2, 3 and done guys. So the middle of your roster, they're just your room in general. So able to step in and do that. But the good thing about him was, recruited him out of high school the first time, had some awareness of his skill set, had him at camp, understanding what he can do, and then watching his tape last year, and he's going to have a chance to come in and help us win games.
What was your extent of contact with him when you were at UCLA, and how much does that kind of thing continue?
Yeah, I mean, the camp's always the best. From my mind, your hands on it. So we had a really good time. I recruited him there for a while. I don't remember the whole dynamics to it, but I think we took a big class that year and kind of filled up. And we wasn't ready to pop yet, and the way the dynamics work, but just having some common ground, like being able to work with him before and being out there is obviously a huge help. And then for him, just understanding what this place is, what it can do for him, what he can do for the team, and having familiarity.
Do you see him competing on the right side, or makes him in a
we've been on the road recruiting the whole time at tackle. Yes, tackle. Coming out of the spring, like I said, you're losing that middle part of your roster with Luke and Paris, both 3 young guys. Supplementing that, obviously, so there's a void there in the middle, and you can slide right in. Swinging up.
Is Jacob James healthy now?
Yeah, Jacob's cleared. He's back. Looks great. It's hard for him in the spring, all those guys are out and stuff. But he did everything from a mental standpoint that he could. Taking mental reps, doing time, conditioning, those things. But yeah, right now we're. I haven't seen Sean this week, but it was something that happened here in the workout this morning.
I know you're not practicing at the moment, but where does Jacob's return kind of leave the center competition? Had Carson and Vic there in the spring, or is it just pick up where that left off and now Jacob's in there?
Leaves it very healthy. Just guys, they're all competitive guys by nature. There's all a vacancy there that they're fighting for, so it's like the old adage or the cliche deal, iron sharpens iron, and guys are going to step up and they all want it and they'll fight for it. So that when we get to fall camp and put the pads on, it's going to be really good, but up to this point, those guys are all maximizing the day what they can through with Nick, through workouts on around the field, through in the meeting room watching tape. But I'm excited for it.
Do you come out of spring just feeling like you maybe have Donovan and Matt and you're still trying to figure the rest out, or do you feel any better?
Well, those 2 guys have played a ton of ball. I've got a guy just down a lot, like Enoch came out of spring, had a great spring. So like I told Enoch, we're sitting here today, if we were going, then Enoch's got to be on the field somewhere somehow, what he did in spring. So leading into fall camp, just kind of repeating what I said there before spring ball, but like excited to get into it and see how it all pans out, because there's a lot of competition ahead of us. Really at all 5 spots, but you're saying Donovan's played a lot of ball, where's he going to be on the field? Matt's played a lot of ball, where's he going to be on the field? I mean, who are those next guys that step up?
Is it not necessarily left guard, right guard for those 2?
That's where they're starting, but, like I said, you lose a guy here or there who slides where. Matt's played center before, he could slide in and play center. Donnie could play all 5. We're going to ask him to do that, but talent-wise and athleticism, he's as good as you're going to be around, just from the standpoint of could he slide out and play tackle on both sides? Yes. He obviously plays guard. He's smart enough and sharp enough to play center too.
Is that, because we've heard that before, we saw Donovan play tackle in the spring game last year. Is that just like a break glass in case of emergency kind of deal, or would you actually consider, like, if we're trying to find the best guy, maybe he can play tackle?
What scenario you would paint, you'd have to figure out, but at the end of the day, you got to play the 5 best. And so I've always said this, you've probably heard me say this many times. If the right guard goes down and the backup right guard is not the 6th best guy and your backup right tackle is, then you got to find a way to get your 5th best guy on the field. So I think that's pretty universal as you look around, even historically here, you know, watching tape before I got here setups and guys slide in different positions. You got to play your 5 best guys. You know, it's not just, you know, you just move the checker up and the guy in front of you now. So, God, I hope we don't have to break that glass. So let's not put that out there, but could Donnie do it if needed to? Absolutely. Could Matt slide over and play a different position if needed to? Yeah. You know, I mean, look at a guy, Josh Frye, who was right tackle, then right tight end, left tight end. Now he's playing some left tackle. Like, we're going to find a way to try to get your 5 best on the field.
You just called the center battle healthy now. Would you say the same thing about the tackles, or are you still not there yet?
No, I mean, just I was saying that in competition itself, it's healthy competition. Yeah. So no, we're not set. I mean, I can't tell you who the 5 guys are right now. And that's a good thing because these guys are going to fight for it. You know, they were asking earlier about Jacob coming back in. And I see Jacob because we had Carson, we had Vic in the spring, and I mean, yeah, we got 3 guys now fighting for those reps. And so, you know, that's going to be really good for the team and good for those kids because, you know, the guy that wins it is going to have to play his best ball. That's one thing. It's not given to anybody. You know, they're all going to fight for that. Same with the tackle positions too. So yeah, healthy competition ahead of us because of the amount of guys fighting for it. You know, Zenua's coming back into it. Tegra had a good spring moving out there. Josh has obviously played. You know, both Josh. I got to figure it out too. I got 3 Josh in the room right now. So, you know, it's like back in the day when your mother got mad at you and she used your middle name, and then you're like, all right, she's really talking to me. So I got to figure that out one way or the other.
Tegra and Zen were already kind of locked in that right tackle battle. Bringing in Josh, does that kind of turn the heat a bit more? Like, hey, this is going to continue to heat up, and we're not done. You know,
absolutely, and that's for both sides. That's why I said, like, I mean, we've got to play the 5 best. So is Josh Simmons a left or a right? Is he staying at right? Is he staying only at left? Is you know, the other Josh hanging around? Like, I don't have all those answers yet. They gotta have a good winter or a good summer with Nick and have good stuff out here. But yes, they'll all be setting right sides and left sides. They'll all be doing individual drills, you know, so that we can keep fighting through that.
It seems like a lot of eyes were on Luke as a true freshman this spring, but Austin and Josh came in, and Miles, all 3 just came in, kind of just seemed to take care of business. Was that your first impression of him? And I guess in particular Austin, like, what did you see from him, Joe?
Yeah, I think with all of them, when you went into that 3 group early on, historically, you'd be like, oh God, like, we have 4 guys here that should be getting ready to go to prom, and they're not. They're playing football, so those plays would be sometimes like, those guys really didn't have those, like, oh, those are the rookies. You know, they handled a lot of stuff pretty well. And then they all kind of came in their own. Like you talk about, you know, Padilla that went in. He's never really played center. He's going from tackle to center. Well, now the ball's in his hand. And he's blocking Mike Hall and doing some of these things. Those guys on the inside. So that was good for him just to kind of get with that. You know, Austin coming from his offensive style and what he ran in high school to now. Adjusting to the speed of the game and those guys. So I was happy with all those guys. Now they get another cycle through with Nick and those guys and Higgs in the weight room, just getting stronger and physically growing because they are still just now fresh out of high school guys. You know, we had them early, but I was happy and excited the way all of them performed, the way they grew. And then their approach after, too, was really good. You know, our exit meetings of what they needed to work on. It's, you know, sometimes you hear it, and all of a sudden they saw it on tape or they felt it, and then they're like, I got you, coach. We got to go to work on this. So they've all got the right mindset.
You've already seen Paris and DeJuan both getting picked decent positions, especially Paris. Have you already seen that pay off on the trail? Are you starting to see that kind of pay off for itself?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the kids talk about it. They ask about it. You know, it's the newness to it of, yeah, hey, I could be the next one of those guys, and say, yeah, that's why we're recruiting you. So that's a little drop in the bucket, though. I mean, you still got to visit the kids, have them visit. You got to get them on campus. You got to get around their families. You got to get around their coaches. You really got to dig in and recruit wholesome. But that's a huge part of it. I mean, it's definitely easy to go into saying, yeah, look what those guys are doing. You can come do this versus, hey, we're trying to get somebody to do that.
Justin, what did Enoch do in the spring that's kind of
He played really consistent. He's a powerful, strong guy, and he played that way coming out of the spring. You know, and so I think for him, it just, you know, going into later in his career now, it took him a little longer for it to slow down, but He played strong, he played powerful, made less mistakes. I mean, just the natural maturation of an offensive lineman, you know.
What you guys put him in the Michigan game last year, and then they kind of rode with Frye the rest of the way in that game. But what do you think Enoch learned from that experience of starting a game of that caliber?
You can talk about games, and you know this could hurt you, this could get you beat, this mistake is what you got to eradicate and correct when you're playing a really good team. So I think for him now, just like we talked about those young guys a little bit, like you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, and but then now seeing it and watching it on tape and being a part of it, there's another learning opportunity there from like, okay, this is what I can't let happen again, or this is what happens if I do that. That'll be a big benefit for him.
I wanted to ask about Avery, big off-season news, positive for him, going to Recruitment, everything like that. What was your takeaway from his fight and that experience?
Still learning from him. Still, as you talk to him, you talk to his mom. You get little messages here and there, how's going on, what's going on. But you said it's fight. For him to get that and that be thrust in his life so quick. So happy for him because he is, looks like the light's into the tunnel now. He's kind of digging over that. So he went over. It was his call, his mom, and he called in and said, "Coach, can we get with Coach Tucker and get something set up at the hospital? I'd like to go over and talk to some young kids." And I'm living it too. I'm supposed to be this big, tough football guy, and he got me too. But I'm gonna keep fighting. Like that was all driven by him. That wasn't a photo op or a Twitter opportunity. He wanted to do that. And go share his story and be around those kids. So he's going to continue to do that. And being put in that situation this early in life is just going to make him tougher. He's going to be better for it. In the middle of it, probably doesn't feel that way, but that's how he's handling it.
What did you see from the rest of that room in terms of supporting him?
Yeah, when something that real is all of a sudden put into your face or your lap, it becomes real. And so I think with those guys being kind of in the arena with them, like I said, it speaks volumes to it. Again, you saw it come back when Kyle went over and Josh went over, and I had a bunch of linemen went over, and Carson was over there. So being around him off the field and learning from his experiences is going to help those guys too. Probably makes. Eventually we all go through stuff, but big things become little real quick when you have real shit thrown into your, real stuff thrown into your lap. I'm sorry. And so you just, you grow from that. And then as they grow and you get put in similar situations or other situations with tough times, then they can be a sounding board for those people. And that's what Avery's doing. In 5 and 10 years, he'll be going around doing whatever he's doing, and people will be like, "Wow, you went through all that?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, I did." It's tough. It's tough. So hopefully that wears off on the kids too.
What's kind of a plan for Avery now that Cavity's answer? Kind of what's the plan, how to get him reactivated?
It's all going to be based off the doctor's orders and what's good and safe and healthy for him. But being around his guys and being involved as much as he can is going to be top priority for us, and as much as we can have him around and doing those things. I think we're in the thick of it right now with him until we figure out what's the best plan of action medically with him. But yeah, as much as we can be around him, he wants to be around the guys and doing those things. That's priority number one. Let's worry about kick sliding on 3rd and 7 and more about making sure he's taken care of.
When you bring in someone like Josh to the fold, how different is his adjustment to Ohio State as compared to the guys who came in the spring before guys in spring? How much is it a shortcut that, okay, you've been in a college strength and conditioning program for a couple of years, maybe you haven't just been running a high school offense for the last 8 years. How much does that trim off of the adjustment?
Yeah, it's really predicated a little bit too off the kid, but a significant amount. Because he's played in major college football games. And so the speed and the intensity of that ramp from high school to college is something that you have to learn. He's been able to do that already. Now, he's coming here, and that's, we tell kids all the time in recruiting, and we're talking like your Tuesday practice is just as hard, if not harder, than most games you're playing. So that level that's got to raise even coming here to Ohio State, it's still going to be a jump, but not as significant as these other guys. But yeah, being in a strength program, being in the accountability of time management and all those things in college definitely shortens the learning curve a little bit.
How much difference does it tend to make just being 2 years out of high school as opposed to 1? Is that a big difference?
I mean, I think it depends on the kid. Josh is a pretty mature guy. And so I think it would just differ kid by kid. But so far, I mean, he's kind of come in, he's quiet, he goes to work, and he wants to get better, and he's adapting with Mick and the training and all that stuff, and the plays, and trying to get around Mike and I as much as he can, just in playbook form and everything that we legally can do, he's trying to do, so that his understanding of that learning curve is there. And then now how fast we climb to it is all he's trying to do, just because he wants to be part of the room and produce.
He had a lot of penalties last year at San Diego State. Is that something you look at and say, like, oh, we can coach that out of him? We're not worried.
Yeah, I mean, you look at everything. You look at all that stuff. I mean, there was one game they had some cadence issues and stuff where it happened a lot here sometimes too, where like it's easiest for the side judge, to be like, oh, who was the false start on? Well, 5 guys jump, who's the closest guy to me? It's that guy. So there was some of that stuff in there, but yeah, I mean, we're aware of it, yes. Something we got to work on, yes, but an overwhelming like, oh God, this is a huge problem. No, because we'll work that with cadence and practice and all the mechanisms and stuff that we do.
From like a physical traits standpoint, I guess what were some of the things that most excited you about?
He's got really good length, upper body length. He's been kind of in the portal and doing stuff on his own for a while since the end of February, and he looked great, body confident. So there's an internal drive there. Now the best part is he's here, he's around the guys, and he's one of us, and he's doing this. So now he can get in with Nick, he can get in with Higgs, he can get in with KP and all those guys in the weight room. But he's got a great frame, he's got good length, he's got twitch, he's got burst, he's got a lot of tools that you look at. I offered him out of high school last place, just felt like he had a chance to be a really good player. So he's not something that just pop like